Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to the Director's Den podcast. It's your boy, Iameddiejackson. And we in the studio today for the 14th episode. Now, listen, I'm truly appreciative of everybody that's been tapping in, really just, supporting what we're doing over here, just trying to build a community, man, that, people can come together, creatives, coaches, basketball players. I just want to provide a platform where everybody can come together and we can all just talk about topics that relate to all of us. And I truly just feel like the support that we've been getting, man, has just been kind of overwhelming, man. So I'm truly appreciative of that. The person I got in the studio today is going to be a fire interview. We already been chatting it up and, getting that pregame talk out the way. So I'm definitely interested in helping you guys come into his life, be able to understand a little bit more about him, what he has going on. And, we're just going to talk film today. Y'all know I got to do an elaborate intro. I do an elaborate intro for all my guests. So bear with me. But this one is going to be fire. Welcome back to today's Director's Den. I'm your host, Eddie Jackson, and today we have an incredible guest joining us on the episode 14. Please give a warm welcome to Adin O'Brien. I said it right?
Yes, sir.
All right, bet. Also known as Shot by Adin, a passionate Leo and a visionary founder of Obsidian Productions, LLC. Adin's journey in videography spans an impressive 8 years, with 2.5 years dedicated to honing his craft professionally, starting out by collaborating with Tiffany and Josh High, the CEOs of results-driven REI, is that correct? Adin played a pivotal role in leveraging social media content to scale their multi-million-dollar real estate education empire. We talk about marketing at its finest. We're talking about somebody that truly cares about the art and helping a business grow. That's like next level. What's even more fascinating is Adin's experience on the road, where he had the privilege of working alongside renowned figures as Alex Hormozi, Sean Cannell. Is it Cannell?
Yeah, Sean Cannell.
Cannell. Ryan Pineda. Learning from the best of the best all across the country. Taking a bold step towards entrepreneurship on April 20th, 2023, Adin transitioned to a full-time business owner.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Full-time business owner, propelling Obsidian Productions, LLC into a successful, multiple six-figure earning video agency. I need tips. Today, Adin will share his insights, experiences, and the secrets behind his remarkable journey. Let's dive in, and I hope you guys discover all of the directorial genius of Shot by Adin. What's going on, dog?
My gosh, what an intro! I'm just stoked to be in the building today. I love what we got going on here. We were chatting it up earlier, like you were saying, having great conversation. Yeah, bro, I'm just grateful to be here.
Dude, you've done a lot, dog.
Oh man, I've done a lot.
8 years.
Yeah.
2 years just working, figuring it out.
Grinding, hustling every day.
Hustling. Talk about the beginning, man. Talk about how you kind of got into this. And, I guess let's just start there, man. I'm interested.
This is going to be a rabbit hole. So let's try and keep it as streamlined as possible across the board.
Cool.
So first of all, as most stories do start, nothing comes easy, right?
Yeah.
Like you always got to find something. You got to find something that you're passionate about. Turn it into that first before you ever do anything money wise. I was doing video for 6.5 years before I ever made a cent doing it, right? And I just love doing it. So when I started, I remember when I was probably in about 7th grade, I was really into skateboarding, and I would go over to my grandparents and skate all the time. And one time my grandpa came outside and gave me this little action camera. It was like a Vivitar from Walmart, $30 action
Really?
camera. He's like,
Really?
hey, like you should use this to make some cool like skateboarding videos. I'm like,
Right.
okay. So I set it up on a tripod and I was skating up and down, back and forth, like, and I'd go inside and I'd watch myself and I'd correct my tricks like based on the footage.
Like reviewing.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was like auditing myself on, that, and I started putting together like 25-minute long skateboard montages on Windows Movie Maker on my grandpa's laptop. None of this was my own gear.
Hold on, time out. He said Windows Movie
Yes.
Maker.
Oh, shout out,
This is
shout
how you know
out.
he was young
Oh, yeah.
because I think that was like the only software that
Only
came
software.
free on
Oh,
your
yeah.
computer.
Oh yeah, I remember it crashed and you could only use it for like 12 minutes before it crashed. Like, or maybe it was my grandpa's computer. I don't know, but loved doing it. That's my roots right there. So 25-minute long montages. I was just throwing clips in there. And granted, I was not great at making videos, not great at skateboarding, none of it. I just loved it, right?
Right.
And that kind of evolved to me borrowing his camera pretty much all the time. And then he ended up getting me my own for Christmas. And it was literally the same $30 action camera. And my God, that changed my entire life. Like,
So
Grandpa, shout out Grandpa, honestly.
that's crazy.
Shout out Grandpa.
Small little seed invested at such a young age.
Yep.
What made you, like, I guess, interested? I mean, you just get handed a camera. I mean, was it the fact that you got to just see yourself first, or was it more so just like, I got a camera, I get to do whatever?
Well, let's put it this way. I had a really rough growing up, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but nothing was ever handed to me, ever. To this day. Like,
Right.
nothing's ever been handed to me. Like, I had to work for everything I had. So that one time that I was given something and given the opportunity to try something new, life-changing. And I took it and I ran with it. Like, I became obsessed with it because it was something different. I think at this point, the only thing I was interested in was playing Minecraft and doing nothing. Like, I had in skateboarding, right? Like, I had long hair. Like, I didn't really have, like, friends or anything like that. I was really introverted at school. I didn't really have anywhere where I fit in. So, like, I found, like, passions and these little hobbies I could do by myself and, like, just grow from that. And then kind of got me out of my comfort zone in the long term. Like, I made a little bit of like friends when I got into high school, kind of centered around just being more extroverted, getting out of my circle, like, or out of my like little box that I was in. And it all came from just video and skateboarding and all the things I really just love to do. So
that's dope, because it just seemed like it just organically kind of happened
oh
for
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Like, nothing was forced, nothing. Was like, you just got a camera, you was a skater, you just started doing your thing, and
Absolutely.
then one thing just leads to another. When did you know that you wanted to take it serious?
Oh boy. So right around the same time that I was kind of coming into high school, my upgrade from that camera was an iPhone 4S. And then I got an iPhone 6. And then that's when my whole life changed. It's kind of still the style I implement today with slow motion video and like doing a ton of slow-mo stuff.
You was doing slow-mo on the iPhone 6?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's when they first added. Well, actually, it was the 5S. I think they added slow mo, but they had the slow mo feature on the iPhone 6.
slow mo feature.
Yeah, on the camera.
Yeah.
So I was doing like slow mo videos, and I just, obviously no color grading, anything crazy.
Right.
Still editing on like iMovie on my phone. Didn't have a computer at the time.
iMovie's better than Windows.
It is
Movie
way
Maker,
better. Crazy upgrade. Like so like piece by piece, I'm like 5 years behind like the standard, but I was still very appreciative of what I had. Right. So started just throwing videos out into the universe. I started doing a couple of jobs for my local ski resort. I'm from Mansfield, so that's a little bit north of Columbus.
Did you go to senior?
I went to senior 7th and 8th grade, and then I went
okay.
to Madison through high school, so like the neighboring school. But I started making a little bit of videos, and then I got the attention of a ski resort that was local to me, so I started helping them with some content. Like, got the opportunity to leave school halfway through the day my junior and senior year, or no, it was just my senior year, to like go over there and work and like just do video content and stuff. But I didn't have my own camera equipment at the time. I was using all their stuff. So at some point I got a Canon T5, and then I had that for a while, and then I kind of lost my love for video for a while. I just kind of got into like a lot of bad stuff. I've never talked about this on pod, by the way. I got into
the exclusive.
No, I got into like I was smoking a lot. Like I was just kind of getting really depressed. That's around the same time, like right before COVID happened. Like when you're getting to the end of your high school years, just you're in a really awkward phase in your life where like social life kind of outweighs everything else important going on. And then when like COVID happened, I just completely shut down. I was like, okay, well, there's nothing to do but smoke and like do this. Around the time that I took it seriously, man, this is like, there's kind of a whole story behind that, and I don't want to go into all of it because it's a long story. But I started doing. I finally at some point invested into a nice camera, just to have it just to do fun. I was like, I want to take this seriously, and that's why I came up with the company. And at first, I was just shooting stuff for free to shoot stuff because I didn't have a portfolio because I didn't have a camera before then, right? Like everything that was there, I was like, I can't show this on a portfolio. So I started filming stuff for free.
Way better. I mean,
oh yeah, no, yeah, it was way better. Like just doing the free stuff. I originally thought I was just gonna do real estate content, so I was hitting up my friends with nice cribs, and I was like, hey, can I film a video at your house? And they're like, yeah, go ahead, and I would. I got my first wedding video in May of 2022, and that kickstarted my entire career because I made it. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. That was the first time I ever shot in log ever, by the way.
Really?
First time ever. I looked up a YouTube video and I was like, you need to click on this button to like film weddings.
A7
Yeah.
I feel like it's like standard now.
It is. It is standard.
If you shooting, I feel like shooting in Rec 709 fresh out the camera is like saying like, I don't really do this.
Well, that was my knowledge gap. Like, I just had this camera in my hand for like, what, 3 or 4 months at this point. And I looked up YouTube and like, click this button, log. I'm like, okay, cool. And I did it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do so much with color grading. And like at this point, I'm like downloading LUTs and just throwing them on the video. But it looked pretty good. Like still to this day, by today's standards, like the video looked pretty good.
Right.
And they posted it. I booked probably 7 weddings by the end of that same night that they posted it, just from that one video. That kickstarted my whole career. I did that whole video for like $500, I think, like, which is still really respectable money. Like, I didn't ask for it; they paid it to me. But I started booking weddings for $1,000, $1,500. Like, I was like, "What am I doing? Like, this is crazy."
That's how it goes.
Yep. And then,
and then you'd be surprised when you like. The difference is you started young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you coming out of high school, you don't really understand like working a 9 to 5 and all that type of stuff like yet. But like, imagine if you did work a 9 to 5 and then you go from making like, let's say $20 an hour to I just made $1,500 in a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Different bag talk, you know what I'm saying?
So at that point, I was working at Best Buy, and I'm not going to lie, the reason I am the guy I am today is because of the leadership that I had at that building. They formed
Best Buy
everything.
was it?
Mansfield.
Oh, Mansfield, okay.
So the leadership in that building took our little Mansfield branch. The company brought them in the same year that I was hired, and they turned Mansfield into the 3rd top store in the entire company in a year. They did crazy things, everything-wise, culture, sales. Like, bro, they did. I can't explain it unless you're in that building. The things that happened, bro. But this man gave me a chance that I definitely didn't deserve because he knew who I was and he knew the kind of person I used to be. And he's like, they declined my application originally. I went in the next day and I sat down. I said, "Can we talk?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I go back in his office and we sit there for an hour. And he's like, "No one in this building likes you, by the way." He's like, "They're all the ones that said don't hire you." I was like, So that was like a kick in the balls, kind of. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know, but now I know. Like, and he's like, "So why should I give you another chance?" I'm like, "Hey, I can't speak for whatever anybody else thinks about me, but I promise if you do give me this chance, I'll never let you down. I'll be the hardest working person in this building, and I will drive the needle forward regardless of what it takes." Gave me that one chance. Bro taught me how to pay my own taxes. Like this, I didn't have a father like figure growing up. Like this was my father figure. He was handing me the tools I needed to be successful. Everything he said was the gospel. And then at some point around the time I got that first wedding video, he came to me and said, "Hey, I'm working on something big, and I want you to be a part of it." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And it turned out being the job that I was about to take in Columbus, the reason I'm in Columbus now, and the people I ended up working for, Tiffany and Josh High with Results Driven. So I made a video for them completely for free, and then they offered me a full-time job on salary, by the way. Like,
nice.
I'm 20. I still am not legally allowed to have beer yet. Like, it's still like, I'm like, bro, this is nuts. And I just got offered they said, "Hey, move down to Columbus. We'll pay your first 2 months of rent. We'll get you a place. Like, we just need you in the office 5 days a week making content, just to do videos full-time." Because their social media was struggling,
So there's businesses really out here that really be having videographers.
They're there for sure, but they're hard to find.
You see those jobs like on like Indeed or
Yeah.
Places like LinkedIn, and you're like, this paint company wants a videographer, you know what I mean? But then you fill out the app, and it's like nothing ever happens, you know, with it. So, you know, sometimes I'll be feeling like, are these like really real or?
They're really underselling the role too. Like honestly, I think that anybody to fill that role, like their skill sets. I mean, that's the hard thing about video, bro. When you're full time dedicated to one person and you don't have the leverage of time anymore, that's when it becomes like, oh shit, you know what I mean? You're fully dedicated to these people. Like their entire business is your whole life now.
Predicated off of what you're doing for them.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's kind of when I took it seriously. To answer your question, I was given that one opportunity, and I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna just dive into it. I've never been scared of taking risks. That's the one thing I'm grateful for is that I've never like sat on a thought. I make decisions very quickly. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do it. Let's send it. If I mess up down the road, cool. But at least I made the fucking leap. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
No, that's good, man. You got to take chances.
You do.
Especially in this game of, really, because even people that, if you work for somebody or you subcontract, it's all taking chances. They're taking a chance on you. You're taking a chance on them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had dealt with many clients where it's like, I don't know if they're going to pay this invoice. You know what I mean? And
I know.
Yep.
I'm still going through that, bro. We were just talking about how I'm switching up my whole payment processing platform before I came to this pod just because of that.
I might have to go to Stripe too, though.
Do it, bro. Stripe.
I like that.
From what I've heard, it's
do
great.
You have to pay monthly for that?
No, but they have a processing fee, and I think it's pretty like competitive to like QuickBooks. What is PayPal's? Is it 3% or something like that?
They just changed it.
Regardless, I think the
it's
reason
3%,
I think the reason I wasn't on Stripe before is because it was higher than the other companies, but the other companies went to where they're at. So I'm like, okay, well, if that's the only thing, like obviously every other feature is worth the switch. So
Right.
yeah, I'm still leverage QuickBooks, but Stripe's where I'm going to be for sure. But.
Now you mentioned real estate, and you always wanted to do real estate. Is there a fascination just with real estate? And
so when you
or
say that, do you mean like from a content perspective, or do you mean
from a content perspective?
So that's what I know, bro. Like when I was thrown into that role, first of all, by the way, granted, I've never been in a room with a millionaire, like high level people in my life. That's the best takeaway I had from that job. I was definitely not making in my mind, I don't think that the money was there. Like I don't think that's why I was there. I was there for the things that I didn't know. Because you could sit in a room with people eating lunch, having a conversation back and forth.
Right.
And someone out there is charging $50,000 to get that knowledge of this conversation.
Yep.
And I'm a 20-year-old kid, and I'm like, this is literally mind-blowing, bro.
Yep.
I'm hearing people, when you start hearing people like stray away from saying, oh, $10,000, $15,000, and they're just throwing around $30,000, $40,000. The word grand is impactful when you put it behind a number. Like,
Very
being that young and hearing that, you're like, bro.
And to like, bro, you gotta think about it. You're 22 now.
Yeah.
When you're doing these things, you're right around like that 19, 20 year age. No 19, 20-year-old that I know of, most aren't doing that. Don't have access to that.
Not at all. Not even close.
And on top of that, won't be able to have access to that probably for another 10 to 12 years. Or they got to pay a boatload of money because that's just the way the industry works.
Bro.
It's a such thing as called as gatekeeping.
You're telling me.
You know what I mean? And people want paid for the knowledge that they have because they don't feel like they should give those gems for free. And I can agree and disagree, in the same breath with that. But the fact that you're getting this, I don't mean to pause you.
No, you're good.
But I've had you. I've had Marsky, Media. I got Kai Watts coming
Marsky's
on.
a dog, by the way. His content's fire.
I got shout out Marsky. I got Kai Watts coming on. I got a whole bunch of just young guys, and it's just really, it's enlightening. You know what I mean? To just see how you guys are really just stepping in and really doing what most can't, man. Because even though you're getting the jobs, you can ruin those jobs. The reason why you're getting the jobs and you're staying busy is because you're doing everything right. If you watch Marsky's episode, I told him that you're doing everything right. Don't lose that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because there's a certain way that you have to be. Professionalism, turnaround, quality. Are you likable?
Yep.
Even like, you could be at a bar one day and how you talk, your mannerism, are you out just doing whatever? You just, you know what I mean? Because you are your brand. And I feel like the guys that are your age that get that and are doing well, they understand that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, bro, I'm 1 or 2 lazy days away. Like, you anybody in this position at our age, 1 or 2 lazy days, one night out, like, one party, you're one of those experiences away from literally letting yourself and your team down, or maybe going into a complete season of complacency, bro. It only takes one day. I've been there. Like, literally, it'll kickstart something. You'll start to get lazy. You'll start to get in your head. You'll start to be like, I can't do this. This is too much. You'll get burnt out, whatever. You'll just start to do the bare minimum. Like, entrepreneurship's hard, bro. It's a whole mental thing at the end of the day. You have to constantly, every day, remind yourself why you're doing it. If you forget why you're doing it, you'll lose everything else.
And you got to learn how to do stuff for yourself.
Absolutely.
I think there's where you get burnt out is when there's no reward for you, right? And the reward for you, it may not even be money, but it should be something
Never.
simple, right? It should be something in it for you. And like, we was talking earlier, I told you the podcast, for me, I get out of it is the fact I get to help others. I get to give somebody else the spotlight. I get to others, right? That may not be your reason for why you do what you do, but what is your reason, right? And finding out what that is and locking in on it, because I'm trying to tell you, I've been shooting since 2012, and really before then, but not like serious. This is almost 12, 14 years. One thing I've realized is the ones that are still around are the ones that were consistent. We look at everybody else and we judge like, oh, well, this person's doing this person's doing that, and you pocket watching. But like when you stop pocket watching and you really start like dialing in on what you got, and then you start building in reward for yourself in there, I'm trying to tell you, man, it just becomes like a lifestyle. It just
absolutely.
Being a creator is a lifestyle.
It is. If your reward is money, then you don't love what you do.
Exactly.
The reward, okay, the
That's
money comes with it, right?
Yep.
But the reward is the passion behind it, the art, everything else.
And I had a guy that once told me, he said, a photographer is not a photographer because he owns a camera.
Wow. Put that on a plaque right now. I'd buy it.
A photographer is a photographer because every time you hop in his car, he has a camera. And he's ready to shoot at any time.
Anytime.
He didn't have to get paid to be here.
Nope.
He was going to be here regardless. Him getting paid is just a bonus. And that's what separates great from good. It's really not the skill. I think part skill, you look at guys that are great editors, like people I look up to, Justin Porter, media, probably #1 videographer in wedding films in the United States. You got Roger Alexander down in Atlanta. He does. He's a big time producer. He's done big films, big things for major channels, major networks. Has his own studio. When you look at these people, the main thing they'll tell you when you talk to them is, "Hey, dude, be consistent. Hey, dude, be genuine.
Right.
Hey." One thing people love about Justin Porter is not so much the weddings that he do. Mind you, that's already fire, right? You could be a great creator and nobody likes you. He's a great creator that does great work, but the reason he's sold is because people love him.
Yeah, the experience.
His attitude, he brings the experience. You're getting the Justin Porter experience.
I know exactly who he is now. Now I literally just
Black guy,
in my mind,
bald head,
very
dances,
animated, very animated. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I love every bit about that guy.
I Justin Porter because I've had a chance to be able to talk to him one-on-one. I've had plenty of times, we follow each other on social media. Like I can send him something, he'll watch
Love that
it,
guy.
He'll comment and stuff like that on different work that I put out. Great guy, but I see why he is who he is. It's not the work. It's not all work.
Right.
I think a lot of people think I will go get a solid camera. Well, what's a solid camera these days? Because I'm holding the iPhone 14 Plus.
I swear to God, that's all you need.
I go to cinematic mode and then I punch in the 3 times, and I got good enough content for reels right now.
Oh yeah.
I don't need anything. So what technology, only thing it teaches us is that as time goes on, it's not the gear.
Not at all.
It's not the gear. Now, mind you, the better you get, I mean, when you are being sold and people like you, then you want to show up with the reds and all that. You know what I mean?
Bro, I gotta.
That's good stuff to be able to have. But, like, outside of that, you don't really... Having gear isn't that important.
No, it's not. The first year and a half was $30 Vivitar action camera.
You heard my man. He said first he had the Vivitar action camera. Then he went to a Canon.
For iPhone 4S.
iPhone 4S,
6S.
iPhone 6.
Yeah, 6.
And then he had the Canon. And then he went Sony. And even the Sony camera he owns is not the top tier Sony. It's an A7 III, right? There's been so many more Sony cameras that's came out. But Adin's out here creating separation because of what?
This is the footage from that camera, by the way. Hold it up for the camera.
Yeah, please hold that up. Wow.
I had to pull it up. It's just iconic. It aged so well.
Wow. I'm glad you did that, man.
It's on YouTube. I'm not showing anybody where to find it. But, bro, that's such an astronomical point. Like, it's literally the gear. Like, I could have upgraded my A7 III at any point, bro.
Yeah.
It could have happened 10 times by now. The reason I didn't is because I don't need it for what I don't need it. I'm very satisfied with the results. I sell an experience. I don't sell videos.
You're very mature.
I don't sell videos. I sell an experience.
That's
because
good.
I've turned down 5-figure deals before because they didn't care about me. They didn't care about the experience. They just wanted a video. And I said, if you just want a video, I'm not your guy. Go find a videographer. That's not me.
You hear that from most successful videographers. They always talk about how they turn down deals. That's how you know somebody's successful, right? When they are in a position to say, nah, no, I'm cool.
I'm not in it for the money, bro.
I'm a person, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm not a machine. I'm not something you just think you're going to buy. I'm just going to do everything you tell me to do. Of course, I'm here to make sure your vision goes right, but you're hiring me for professional expertise. If you know how to do it yourself, go get a camera.
That's what
Why
I'm
don't
saying.
you just do it? But people aren't going to do that because of the fact that they need us, right? We're needed. And I think so many more creators could really be successful young. I mean, like, it blows my mind. Like, mind you, I'm 34 years old. I'm a whole 12 years older than you. That's a big difference. If I was your big brother, I'd be like, Mom, why'd you have a kid so late? You know? like, you know what I mean? Like, my goodness. You get what I'm saying? So, my perspective is, when I look at you guys, I get fueled. And I think there's this divide in the creative culture, and that you see a lot of guys that have been in the game for a long time, and then you see a lot of the new guys that are coming in the game, and you're seeing a lot of the old guys that's been in the game. They've been in the same place for 10 years, and these new guys are coming in the game, and they're taking the information, they're taking the technology, and they're taking all of the advances that they have, and they're running full speed. Why? Because when we were running full speed, or I'm not even going to say we, because I run full speed every day, but when most videographers that's been in the game, that's older, that's been running full speed, they were doing that back in like the 90s, bro, when they didn't have all this technology and all this information wasn't available. You couldn't just hop on YouTube. There was no YouTube University.
Right.
There was nothing to teach people. When you look at your process and you look at the things that you've gone through, Adin, to get where you are, what are some of those key things that you just said I have to hone in on to be successful, not only just in the time now, but be forward thinking in the future? What are some of those things that you kind of hold on to, that you kind of pick out at the beginning, and those are the things that you're still holding on to now that has been the engine behind your business?
So, number one, I knew that I was going to want to scale this to be more than just me from the second I started. Okay. So now one of the things that keeps me going is my team. My team, taking care of them financially, taking care of them emotionally on a deeper level than just that, implementing a really effective culture that actually cares about each other. That right there is one key thing that's going to drive the success. I would be nothing without my team. Obviously, I put the work in, I was hustling, I'm grinding, I still am, but my team is the most important thing. I'm putting food on their plates now. Bro that works for me dropped out of college to work for me full time.
Really?
Yes. Can you see the level of like trust and dedication he has in me? Now I have to be able to give that same thing back to him.
Now pause there. How do you build that? You know, one of the things I've always struggled with, Adin, is building a team. And it's not so much I'm not likable or I don't work good with teams. I managed teams before. I've done, like, it just seems like a lot of times I want to pay. I don't believe in people just joining me and doing something for free, right? I believe in time is money. And a lot of times it's just, you know, I haven't really probably been in those sectors to where I probably attracted a lot of those big budgets to be able to do that. What tactics did you put in place to be able to start being able to build a team? Because I know a lot of creatives that are out here that like, that's the ticket, right? Like, if you could figure out how to get a group of people together for one mission, we can all be successful and we can all grow. How do you do that, and how do you maintain that?
So, two things. One, I failed a lot. I failed before. I built teams before and it failed miserably. Now, a good thing is that I was actually doing that for another company at one point. One day I got it right. And then, even when I started my company, I tried it again, and I still failed. There's a lot of things that went wrong. But what did go right...
things on your own.
Correct. But what went right is I am not somebody to just dwell on my mistakes. I'm ready to adapt and adjust and make what needs to changes necessary happen, right? When I was in that setting, I was coached and I was taught how to build teams effectively and efficiently from people that have built multi-million-dollar earning teams effective and efficiently. They gave me the skill sets, the tools. I started training. And granted, when I started building teams, they were editing teams overseas. So it wasn't just interviewing people and hiring them. It was I'm Zooming with people every day, time zone differences, language barriers, like from India, the Philippines. And I still have a team overseas, too. To this day, I still have a team of editors. They're half of my team. I have in-person team people now. But I failed a lot on being a leader to them. And really, when I realized at the end of the day, this is the mindset shift. Instead of it's their fault for not performing, it's my fault as a leader for not giving them the resources to be successful. So let me tell you an ideology really quick. Yeah, accountability is huge. But have you ever heard of the theory of gapology?
No.
No? Okay, so I'm going to break it down as simple as I can.
School me.
There's three levels of gapology. They're gaps that people have as a leader with their teams. The first is a knowledge gap. The second is an importance gap. And the third is an action gap. So the knowledge gap is I, as a leader, am going to give you the tools and resources and the training to be successful. The importance gap is now you need to make it important to take action on the things that I'm training you to do, right? And now, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. The importance gap is making those things important and actually doing it and having that open-ended communication. The action gap is when you take action, and I'm going to hold you accountable. Since I've given you all the resources and tools to be successful, now I'm holding you accountable to doing those things. And if I've taken you, so let's say it's a training thing and you messed up because you made a mistake in your company or in your role because you didn't understand the platform, okay? I'm going to take accountability because I didn't train you properly. It's my fault as a leader. Okay, cool. If we get past that and you just didn't make it important because I didn't show you why it's important, it's still my fault as a leader. Now, if I've done all of that and you get to action and the only thing you're lacking on is taking action, now I can say, as a leader, I've given you everything that I can give you to be successful and you still weren't doing what you needed to do. Now I'm going to hold you accountable because it's now on you. That's gapology. So leadership, and by no means am I an amazing, phenomenal leader. I hope that I can be one day. I've had the amazing opportunity to have amazing leaders in my life that a lot of people never get the opportunity to actually have. But what I hope and pray is that for my team now and my team down the road, whoever that is and however many people that is, that I can be an effective and efficient leader and I can actually be involved in their growth and their success and their personal journey outside of the business. That's what I want to be. Because that's what was given to me. Like I said, the one man that believed in me and changed my life literally sat me down and taught me how to do taxes on the clock. He paid me to teach a guy that worked with us from California to go snowboard on the clock because he's never snowboarded before. Like, that's the kind of leader I want to be someday.
One that can stop now, teach, apply.
Yep.
Teach, apply. I mean, I think that's critical with all leaders. You definitely just have a lot of leadership qualities. Where did you get it from?
The people that led me, bro. The rooms I was in, I'm telling you.
I know you said Best Buy was like a critical part.
It's not even the company, bro. The company is going to shit. It's the guys that were in that building. They know who they are. They're watching.
And they just paved the way.
They paved the way. I'm telling you, they changed not just my life. There's probably a big group of people. They're all a tribe. Any of them could hop on this pod. And unless you were in that room or worked under these guys, you would have no idea actually truly how impactful it was. Because I would not be anywhere close to where I am today if I wasn't led the way I was led by these guys. But not even a little bit above that, when I got into the company I worked for as a videographer, like I said, just being in those rooms, bro. Just being in the rooms with the people, doing the things. They're so high level. And I'm super impatient, and that's why I'm young. Yeah. But if you were to sit here and meet me today, my bald beard ass, and just have this kind of a conversation, would you ever in your mind assume I was my age? I'm
22?
so
No, you look older than 22. For
I'm
sure.
so impatient because I want to be them so bad. I don't want to be them. I want to be like them
Right.
from a mental standpoint in so many ways. So bad sometimes because they literally. I was sitting there as a 20-year-old kid, like, oh my gosh, like, this is great. Like,
Now, Tiffany and Josh High, CEOs of Results Driven, REI. That's here, right? In Columbus.
Yep.
I feel like I've seen that before. Where's that located?
so they are in Hilliard now. They're originally in Grandview.
Okay.
Mhm.
I swear I thought
Yep.
I've seen
So
that
they have a
before.
real estate education company based around investing,
Okay.
and they're really, really, really good at what they do. And they're
What did you do for them? Like, far as just like how-to videos,
social media
or?
content.
Okay,
So
content.
there was a point where, and I literally think that like some of this is in an NDA, and I can't give all the details out, but literally we took strategies, we just tried things, and some of them worked, and then over a time period, we got from 15,000 followers to 70,000 followers in like 6 months. And literally most of it was just trial and error. And it was all thrown on my desk. Like, hey, figure it out. I had that figure it the fuck out mentality from day one.
That's the best for
It
creators.
is. It is.
That's the best position to be put in.
Yep.
Is when you like, oh, hold on. You want me to figure it out? Like, I get full control?
Right.
Like, that's what we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Absolutely.
excelled at it.
I mean, bro, I literally was just like, if this didn't work, cool, how are we going to adjust and make something else work, right? Those people, I'm telling you right there, Tiffany and Josh, shout out them. They, like, I've never flown a plane before, like, travel anywhere because I grew up very, like, in a very rough environment. Like, we didn't have money to do any of that shit. Like, the farthest I've been was Myrtle Beach. Like, that's it.
Right.
And we drove there
That's
for, like, 3 days.
Smooth little
Hell
6
yeah.
hours.
So, like being like they flew me out to San Diego for the first time. They flew me out to Puerto Rico with them. Like they had me coming everywhere, meeting all these people. Las Vegas, like that's where I met like the teams behind Alex Hormozy. That's where I got to eat lunch with Sean Cannell, the guy I've been watching. Think Media TV. You know who Sean Cannell is? The gear guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Cannell.
Okay.
I had lunch with him. We sat there. He gave me a book that he hadn't released yet. It's out now. It's YouTube Secrets 2, Volume 2. But that man like paved the roadmap for everything gear-wise that I know about cameras today. I grew up watching his videos when I had that little Vivitar action camera. Yeah, because I was looking to like, what am I going to buy when I could save up money? It was his videos, right?
So you really respect the ones that came before you.
100%.
And I can tell. Because you get excited when you talk about some
Yeah.
of the older guys.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's been in the
No,
game.
they literally are. I'm not kidding. Like I was fanboying. Like there's way more famous people and way more well-known people in that
Right.
room. Like Alex Hormozy now, he's 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, and everyone that's young entrepreneur wants to watch him. I
Right.
was way more excited to meet Sean Cannell and his smaller community than I was excited to meet him. And like granted, I was even more excited to meet the teams behind these guys. Because they're the reason that these guys are where they are. The guys behind the content. So I'm right now in my business, I've implemented those strategies that they used for those guys. Like Caleb, that used to be Alex Hormozy's videographer, he originally worked for Gary Vee as his videographer. All of their social media strategy, Gary Vee. Yes, the Gary Vee. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Personal videographer, personal social media strategist, Caleb. He taught me a lot of, and we just had a 10-minute conversation at one point. I learned more in that 10-minute conversation than you could learn from a $10,000 video mastermind. Seriously.
Really?
Yes, it's
You've been put into some lot of good like just positions to be able to just
bro, lucky as hell.
learn.
Every conversation you have with everyone, treat like $1 million conversation, and you will get something out of it. Something. Even if it's someone at Walmart. Hey, how are you doing? I love them shoes, man. Like, oh, sick. Like, yeah, tell me about what you do. Like, literally just treat every conversation, interaction like $1 million interaction. You'll learn something from people that you would never expect.
As a young creative, how do you stay humble? You see a lot of guys, they're not really humble, especially guys that are getting success. And I'm not the type of person to ever tell somebody, don't gloat,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you should celebrate the wins, right? Celebrate your wins.
I do with my
I
circle.
feel like some people are just like, you can tell they're humble and they're blessed behind their humbleness, and it's their humbleness that really keep them. How do you remain that? At being young, being in this just microwave generation of just creators, how do you stay humble and successful at the same time?
So like I said, I come from a very rough background where nothing was ever given to me. My mom did her best to raise me, and my dad obviously struggled like with a lot of stuff growing up. Parents are separated. which really taught me. And like I had to grow up really fast. When I was 18, like honestly 17, I was pretty much living by myself from 16 to like until now. Like house hopping, my parents fought all the time, and my sisters, like, bless their soul, they couldn't go anywhere. I had a car, so like I would, like, that was my getaway. Like I could just leave. I bought that car myself, $900, piece of shit. But like I was house hopping, like I was dad hopping. Like I didn't have someone that was looking over me, like helping me. Like I didn't have anyone to talk to. I literally had to fend for myself pretty much from day one. When COVID happened, I was 18 years old. My dad got kicked out of the house, and I had to be the man in the house for my mom, for my sisters. Like we all had each other. We were quarantined together. Like I had to be that father figure. And then it came to the point where
you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It came to the point where my mom needed help paying bills, and she was struggling really bad because, you know, my dad wasn't there. He wasn't working at the time very much. Like, and, you know, they were still married, but he wasn't living there. And the income coming in just wasn't enough. Like, they had a house, they had all of us to take care of. I had a car that didn't function, and I had no money, and I was smoking pot and stuff like all the time, right? Like I was telling you. So I put all that aside, and I got a job as a mechanic making $9.50 an hour. I had to walk to work every single day for 3 months. Didn't have a car. I saved up barely enough money to buy an engine for a car. Didn't have enough money to pay someone to do it. So I put a car engine in myself with 2 of my buddies in a day. And at the same time of all of this, saving up for that, I probably would have happened faster. But I was like giving to my mom as much as I could, helping her with, you know, the insurance or whatever. Like I was just helping her as much as I could. And then at some point, I got the opportunity to like move out. I was like, okay, it's time to get out of the house. I was like, I just turned 19. It was time to go. And I got the opportunity to just start figuring out how to be independent from them, because it was really hard to leave them behind. But it was like I knew it was my time. So honestly, you know, all the way up till where I'm at today, like that's a really big reason of why I have like very humble, like I'm trying to stay as humble as possible. But I've worked with people that are my age. They're way wealthier, way richer, but they've lost who they are just because of like the money, bro. They've lost who they are because maybe they've been given everything. Like, bro, their money came way too easy, bro. I know some people. I literally am not legally going to talk about it right now. But I've dealt with issues early on in my business where I've parted ways with people because I don't agree with their core values at all. I don't like who they are as a person at all. And you hear the conversations they're having, they're like, bro, like they're making fun of poor people. They're making fun of people that are working their ass off every day to even make a living. And they're shitting on them, bro.
It's hard to do.
I will never do that.
You can't talk about that from somebody that came from the bottom, too.
Hell no, bro.
I mean? Like, cause at one point in time, I was there.
Bro,
seen
I
it.
swear to God.
You know what I mean?
When I quit my job and pursued this full time, I had half of rent in my bank account. And I had 10 days to get the rest. I had no idea how I was going to get that money, but I found out a way. I made it work. Like, bro, I'm telling you right now, if you've never fallen on your face and failed so miserably, like, you might make money at some point, bro, but you'll never be successful at heart.
Right.
If I'm doing half of what I'm doing right now, and I was barely paying my bills and taking care of the people that work for me, and that's it, I would still love every bit about what I'm doing. I still would, and I would keep it 100 with everyone. I'd be the exact same person I am today. If I was making $1 million a month, whatever, I don't care. I'm still going to be the exact same person. I'm not going to spend any crazy money on clothes. Like, that's one thing about me. If you know anybody that knows me, I don't spend money on shoes very often until someone literally bullies me because of how dirty my shoes are. And I sure as hell don't be buying some name brand shit. Like, I never spend money on I have to bring someone with me to the store because they have to persuade me to buy something because I'll walk out and I won't buy it. Like, I hate spending money on myself. I'd rather dump that into someone else. You know what I mean? This hat, this was a gift. This is my own company. This is the one of the 4 pairs of pants that I own that are actually nice. Like, I'm just like that, bro. Like, I'd much rather invest into something that's either gonna help other people, like my team, like invest in more equipment or something, make us more money together, or, you know, just give back to the community. Like that's really what I want to do. That's where I want to get at. If I'm making a certain amount of revenue, I want to do something for the community every single month, like constantly be involved. Like, yeah. So humble beginnings, bro. Just gotta keep with it, you know.
Bro, you're light years ahead of where most people are. Even people that's been in the game for a long time.
But yeah, I still feel like I'm so behind, bro.
Just mentally. Like, and I feel like that's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. The fact that when we think that we're so behind, that's what keeps us ahead. That's what keeps you on your toes.
I'm always chasing 10 years me, 10 years future me.
I always tell people, listen, man, the way you should feel about your passion is, Remember when you was a kid and you gotta go to the bathroom and that hallway dark and you take off, like somebody chasing after you, man. That's how you gotta be, you know what I mean? Like that rush, it has to be that same rush.
All the time.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, somebody's gonna get me because the truth of the matter is somebody's staying up. You went to bed.
Right.
Somebody's staying up right now and they cooking up something fire.
Hell yeah.
Does it always mean that person's competition? No. But what it does mean is that we all get 24 hours. And how we use them is how you chose to use your hours.
Right.
And I think a lot of people fall short because they don't understand that this entrepreneur grind is much more than sleep. It's much more than rest.
Oh, yeah.
Some nights you might not get none. And life has to go on, right? Like, life has to go on. You still got to do the things. 8 hours on set, that's a light day. Talk about 18 hours on set.
Oh, yeah.
A set long enough that you got to build in a lunch. You know what I mean? You gotta.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't. You know what I mean? And I think the grind, like, I can definitely tell just from your upbringing, that's embedded in you. That grind, that get it out the mud mentality, like start from the bottom. Now we here, like. It's played a big part of your life because of the fact it come from your childhood. I mean, just hearing you talk about how you had to walk to work. People don't realize, and I lived in Pickerington, when I was in high school. I used to walk down Diley Road at the other end.
Right.
All the way
like
to
where I got off the
256.
highway, like that's a hike, bro. I know exactly where that's at.
That's 256.
Oh, that's the other way.
Diley Road is a road that connects to 256.
Okay, I got
but
you.
You know how you probably passed the Kroger's and the
Yeah.
Not Walmart, but Kroger's and the Wendy's right there on the right coming down 256. I used to work at that Wendy's.
Right on.
I lived all the way down Diley Road. And it's not, I didn't have to foot it because I needed to pay bills or anything. But it was those little activities where my dad said, hey, if you want to work, it's your job to get yourself to work. Like, yeah, it sounds harsh. It sounds hard. Like,
but I'm grateful
Dad,
for it. I'm grateful for the harshness,
I'm trying
bro.
to tell you, if you were a high schooler, if you're in middle school, if you're one of those kids that mess around with cameras and you stumble across this interview, take from this that it's okay to go through some grinding. Go through some rough stuff in your life. Whatever you feel like is rough, because these kids are so privileged these days. I mean, you got mama and daddy dropping you off here and there. You know what? Put yourself through the fire, because I feel like parents are different and kids got to almost take it upon themselves, or you actually have to go through life like you had to go through life, you know what I mean? And you learned it, and it just became something because you had to deal with it. But I feel like that mentality, if you talk to any of the older guys that's in the film industry that have all the knowledge, they'll tell you, dog, life was different for us growing up, man.
Different.
When my dad tells me about how he had to walk in snow, and there wasn't no buses, and you had to get to school. Yep. That's different.
That's different.
I don't even know half these kids these days. Who they be like, man, I'm going to drop out, man. Oh, my God. I'm going to the career center, man.
I remember my mom dropping me off 2 hours before school started because she had to get to work, and if she didn't drop us off at that point, we wouldn't.
Walking.
Yeah, we would have to sit outside and just wait for the first teacher to get there to be let in, like, every day. I remember that. That's crazy. Yeah, we're, like, that's the thing, though. Like, a lot of people just don't, if they're, and it's not on them. It's not on them for growing up a certain way or not, like, but, like, the way I was taught, that's every bit of the reason I am the person I am today. That's why I'm grateful for everything. I was grateful for that $30 action camera. I was grateful for that iPhone upgrade. Like, every little thing was so much to me, and I was so valuable.
If you had anything, man, you could just, I mean, you dropped a lot of gems and a lot of tips, but just outside of the stuff that you've already just said, man, you know, what's the biggest and most important thing to remember as a creative that's starting off? What's the number one tip you would give somebody starting off as a creator? You just got your first camera. You don't even have a camera. You just got a cell phone, and you just have creative ideas that you want to bring to life. What would you say to them?
Whether you intend on making a business out of it or not, don't lose your fucking love for it. Don't lose it. Like, that above everything is going to be the most valuable thing. Like, besides all money, if you make money from it, sweet. But then don't get into the mindset of chasing that money, because I've been in that mindset before, and that's what caused me to struggle so much in my first year of business owner.
Do you think you focusing on money does it almost rob you of the
100%. You lose everything that you
And why?
loved. Because, bro, at the end of the day, when you pick up that camera, it's no longer that hobby and that thing you love to do. This is your job now. It's just like, you know, you get a new job, you're on fire for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, I got to get up and go to work, and then you're looking at your phone, and you're waiting until the very last moment to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
I read this thing somewhere. It said if you're stuck in bed in the morning, it's because you already know how your entire day is going to go. You already know from start to finish how your day is going to go, and the reason it's so hard to get up is because you don't want to do it. I started treating my camera as a job instead of as the reason I am who I am today, and my love for it. And when I got to that point, first of all, I didn't realize it at first of why I was so down, why I was so depressed, why I was complacent. But when I realized it, I stopped caring about the money. I started creating content. I took a trip to Miami. I was asked to go on a trip to Miami. Didn't get paid nothing. I was literally there just to shoot content for free. And I ran around with my really good friend Lyric. Lyric like made me go on this trip because he knew the state I was in. He's like, bro, you need this trip. Like, we're just gonna run around downtown Miami and shoot content. I was like, that's fucking weird, but okay. Like,
but it's actually fire though.
We were on a yacht. We were on like all this stuff, and I'm not the one buying the yachts. Like, I was literally just with these guys, these TikTok guys. They're all douchebags, by the way. But I mean, we were having fun, and I was treating the trip just making content for free, and just making content from that trip right there alone, not giving a fuck what happened after it, is what sparked everything that I've done this year so far. That video I made for free just because I love to do it did really well on my page, got so many new clients. I had phone calls, I had bookings, and none of that would have mattered. I just did it, threw it in the dark because I loved it.
But do you feel like your best work comes out when you do not care
100%.
about the end progress?
Absolutely. A music video that I just did for a really good friend of mine, did it completely for free. One of my best videos I've ever made because I loved his song that he did so much, and I made it for free. And like, it's coming out soon, and I'm so excited for the world to see it, bro, because it's so good, and it didn't make a cent off of it. We had a whole team, a whole production, a whole Airbnb, everything. We just did it for fun. We had so much fun that night.
I swear, man. You know, and I know earlier we were talking like the difference between bag and passion. You know, I think when you like divide the spectrum up like that, like what's bag, what's passion, it almost forces you to have an even balance.
Yeah, you'll get to that point.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have that even balance, but you got to realize what that is. And you said a key word earlier when you asked me, hey, what's your niche? And, you know, one thing that I've been learning, and, you know, a lot of people see a lot of the work that I do. I do sports, I'm doing weddings, I'm doing movies, I'm doing documentaries, I'll do photos, I'll do this, graphics. Like, you know, it might seem like I'm all over the place. And one of my buddies named Al Battle, he came to me and he said, look, dude, there's a difference between bag and passion. He said, you are, and the only reason I'm saying this to you guys is because I don't want nobody to make the same mistakes I make. You know, like this is a community. We should all learn from each other's mistakes so that we can be better. And what he said to me, he broke me down to a T. He said, he said, I know exactly where you're at. He said, you're doing amazing work for people for free, but you're doing it with the hopes of building a monetary relationship from it. And that's what kills it. That type of energy is felt, even on the production. People can tell when it's like, I think this dude really is about to just kill this video and not care if we pay him because he just loves it that much. Versus, I think this guy is really like trying to finesse us. And maybe not finesse, that might not be the word they use, but like, you know, maybe like it's almost just like we can tell that you're trying to gain something out of it. And when he told me that, I never looked at it like that. And truth be told, I used to do that. Like I would do stuff for people. Oh man, what, you do this? Bad. Let me do Let's go ahead and break down the whole podcast thing. Look, I'll expose it because I don't even care anymore. You know, so AI came out with Autopod. Cause I don't even care, you know.
Run it. Not gatekeeping. No gatekeeping in our community.
I don't gatekeep,
We're not
man.
gatekeeping.
I don't gatekeep, man. You know, at the end of the day,
Run it.
my work is my work. Your work's your work. Premiere came out with Autopod. Instantly, when Autopod came out, I was like, haha, light bulb. Most of these clients, people care about the bottom dollar, and they care about what they're getting in return. So what I thought was a marketing plan, and this is something that totally backfired on me, so please don't take this as a success plan and don't try to just go out here and do it to somebody else. Who knows? It may work for you. It didn't work for me. I said, you know what? Autopod's out. I have cameras. I have mics, state-of-the-art equipment, lighting. I'm going to find podcasts that don't have this level of creativity. I'm going to offer them one shoot for me to come in and do their podcast for free. From that moment, I'm going to upgrade their look. And they have to shop with me, right? It's almost like trapping, but not trapping like you're strategically trapping. I'm going to use Autopod, which I know Autopod only takes 2 minutes to cut up a whole episode. I'm not going to tell them that, right? I'm not going to tell them that, you know, and then you just put that in your fee, right? And you just charge $350 for editing, $500 for editing. You know when I realized it was not going to work?
I'm intrigued.
Shout out my boy Des Arnaz and their podcast. I reached out to him. I did their podcast, and in the middle of the podcast, one of the hosts say, "Hey, y'all run this video up right now because it may not ever be another one."
Holy shit!
When you talk about protection, when you talk about somebody that I felt like, did he know? No. But I do feel like he guarded himself from the fact of the matter of feeling like, because, you know, fans are like hard on people, right? Like once you upgrade your look, ain't no going back.
No. What happened?
Ain't no
That's
going
all
back.
you'll see in the comment. What the fuck?
And that's how we become successful with big business. You just told me earlier, you jumped into a real estate company. Boom, you help scale them from this many followers to this many followers. It shows that your video and your marketing and stuff like that works, right? So that's a known theory that when it works, most businesses will be like, "Oh, you're the guy then." Well, because business ain't trying to make stuff hard. We can get money with you. That means you can get some of this money too. On their end, they were like, "Nope, run this video up, man, because, you know, this is the first and the last time we probably gonna have all these cameras. And, hey, Eddie, man, it's a nice setup."
Yeah, literally. All right, later. Goodbye.
Hey, man, this is a beautiful setup, man. Thanks for coming by today. You know what I mean? And that's how they protected themselves. But more so, when I got home, I told my wife, and I was like cracking up, laughing. She was like, and my wife tells me all the time, "Hey, you got to stop being money focused. You have to stop being money driven."
Are you money focused?
I'm not anymore.
You better not be.
I'm not.
That's a big problem.
I'm not.
Listen
And
up.
this is something that this was like maybe a year or 2 years ago. You know what I
There
mean?
you go.
Before like I really got home and you know, for me, I put a thing. Well, I have a dry erase board right here. Before I had all this stuff up there, I had put money is not my resource. Right?
That's good.
Because like my dad will say, money ain't everything, but it's up there with air. But at the same time, I'm a believer in God. I'm a believer in that. Look, all this cameras, lights, everything, I don't even know how I have it all. You know, when you really look back at your life, you're like, how did I gain all of this stuff? And to me, it just goes back and just speaks on mental, your mindset, how you are thinking really like literally navigates your trajectory and where you're gonna go. If you're that bullet and you get shot out the gun, literally your mindset is telling you where you're going, right? And my mindset was always just bag. And so when you become bag focused, you start using people. You start abusing the relationships that you have. You start getting upset. You start breaking off relationships that you have. Why? Because these things aren't doing the thing that you want from it. And when I'm sitting here, I'm testifying. I'm telling y'all right now, when I became bag focused, that's when I feel like everything started coming together.
You just described my entire first 6 months of business to a T. I'm serious.
You know what I mean?
You know how many opportunities and how much more money and everything else that I would be if I started off being relationship centered instead of money centered. Like, bro, literally it became greed. It became like, I don't know. You just weren't putting that extra effort into the clients, into the relationship with the
because
clients.
You're just doing for
you don't care, bro.
Like, and then this is how business works, right? You collect a deposit up front to lock in your date. And then most people, depending on the client, you may have some clients that's net 30, net 60, net 90. But most clients in this world, you either want your invoice due at the day of the shoot or for, the first time, you show them the work. Like when I show you work and I say that it's done, I still need paid even though revisions may come or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to get paid. Weddings, you know why I got burnt out with weddings? It was because I was money driven. And when the weddings would pay me, right? Once I got paid in full, because all my contracts state that I have to be paid
on the
week
day
before.
The week before, yeah.
The wedding. By the time you get to the wedding, you don't even want to be there. Oh my.
Weddings. You can't scale up a company with wedding videos.
Bro,
it's impossible.
Bro,
I've already tried it.
And that's the thing that I realized, like, yo, that burned me out.
Oh yeah.
From doing weddings, because here I am, I'm so money focused that once you got the money, you never went to do the shoot yet.
No. Yeah, and even
now you're already checked out. And when you get there, you're not going to
yeah.
bring 100% of what you have to offer. You should be bringing 150% and landing on 100% when you're done. You get what I'm saying?
For me, it's the editing process. That's when I get clocked out, bro. Because I will film and I'll collect payment on the day of the wedding, besides whatever I collected deposit beforehand, and then I leave. I'm like, fuck, I gotta edit this shit now. And granted, weddings are very pretty. They're aesthetic. The colors, like the color grading is probably my favorite because that's the only inconsistency. But the layout of, I mean, at least my vision, the layout, like, bro, I let them pick their own song, and a lot of the times it's like one of 3 songs that everyone else picks. And you already edited a whole 5-minute long video to that same song. You're like, bro, I just don't want to do that again and again and again. I stopped booking. I'm not going to lie. I have a huge network of referrals now. I've been passing off wedding referrals now, unless they're travel. That's the only time that I take a wedding.
Yeah, the only
I just did a San Diego one in November. Like travel weddings, 100%. That's
and that's the goal, right? Because eventually you get to a certain point where you're like, the only thing that will make me want to do it is the difference in location. Why? Because I can come up with new creative ideas. Weddings can become daunting, and this is the one reason why I'm a big fan of Justin Porter. He talks about the slow-mo montage and how that's so dated, and weddings just looking the same, and how do you make them unique? And you do that with audio, with narrative, with telling the story. These are the moments that people want when grandma is no longer here, but you hear her on the film saying, I love you, baby. Right? Like something you can replay back and hear her voice. Not just see grandma coming down in her nice little gown and 120 frames 4K. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. It's cinematic, but does that really matter to the client?
Right.
And so I told myself, I stopped doing weddings, like local. And I boosted all my weddings to like 8 to 12 grand. Why? Because in order for me to give you the vision of what you want and the reason why you would really book me, I need to hire people. And it goes back to your whole thing of having a team.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like a team just makes things work better, work faster. The flow is better. Businesses buy teams. Businesses don't buy people.
Right.
That's what people don't. That's what creatives sometimes is hard to understand. It took me a long time to get it. Eddie Jackson, they're not buying you.
Right.
They'll buy KFC Images, but what all does KFC Images come with?
Mm-hmm. The experience,
because as of right now, KFC Images just comes with Iameddiejackson.
Right.
So if they buy KFC, they're just buying you. They don't buy people. Mm-hmm. They're buying the resources. They're buying what you can bring full circle. And so for me, you know, having a team is crucial. You know, I respect people that have already built teams. And I ask that same question. How do you do it? I'm the type of person, I told my wife this all the time. I probably wouldn't even do freelance. I probably would do stuff like this, like podcasts and stuff like that, just for personal branding. I probably wouldn't even do freelance work if I had a team.
Well, I should have made this point sooner, but this was a groundbreaking discovery for me at one point. There's a very, very fine line difference between being a freelance videographer and a business owner. I hated when I realized it because I didn't know what to call myself when I would tell people what I do. I would tell some people I owned a business. I'd tell some people I did video full time or I was freelance. Like, I knew the difference when I made a team, when I started thinking, how can I exit the company and scale this up, and how can I start the next venture and just do video just to have fun. You know, that's my goal long term. When I get to a certain point in the company, bro, and I can put a COO in place or a CEO in place and exit completely, and I have a really good, consistent business running itself, then I know, okay, cool. Like, I'm stepping out. Like, now I can literally just, if I'm creatively involved in a project now, it's going to be a huge project. Like, I'm more of a director role. I have a team that does everything else. Like, that's where I want to be at some point.
You know who Yavez Ellis is? Yavez Ellis is, he's around my age. But he's a lead pastor for New Birth Christian Ministries now. But he also runs a organization called Canvas, where they basically do a lot of marketing, branding work. And a lot of times he'll subcontract, me to come do stuff and whatnot. But what you're saying is exactly what he built. He built a team. Like, literally, I went today, I had to go pick up that machine over there because they have a campaign called Make It Make Sense, and it's like a tobacco campaign that they got through a government contract through Ohio. And I had those guys over doing a podcast the other night, and they had brought me to a shoot to do like last Friday or something with it was down on Martin Luther King Boulevard. Man, I forget the name of the association, but they had me come in and do some interview work. And then the next day I'm like talking to them, and they're like, yeah, Yavez is on vacation. I'm like, vacation? But it was just so sweet to go down to their studio, walk in. He got this person doing this person's doing this. I mean, everybody's doing their job as if he's there. And this man is overseas.
That's how I felt this last week.
That's the goal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the end goal. Like, I was like, he did it. And I'm sure it's a lot more that goes into it. But from an outside perspective, that's what I see. I see you're not here and the business is running. Why you're not here?
Yeah, bro. I'll tell you, literally, I had that moment. You feel like a proud father. I had that same moment this last week. I was in Nashville for a few days. I was home one day, and then I went to New York. And the New York trip was just solely like for fun. It was celebrating a friend's birthday. I was in New York, and I made $2,000 in retainer client work that week, and my videographer was out running and gunning almost every single day. Actually, I did more than that. It was like $3,000. I paid him $1,500 just in that week. Like, he was working the whole time I was there. Like, whole time I was there, I was literally texting him, putting stuff on his calendar while I was there. Like, bro,
that's lit, man.
I was getting invoices come through my phone, and I'm in New York. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. And I'm nowhere near, bro. Like, I'm not there yet, but like, I got a taste of like, wow. Like, if I get to the point where I'm scaling, like,
well, I think, remember that goes back to what I was telling you before off camera. Get into government contracting.
Yeah.
Get into, like, that's really, I mean, I believe that's one of the things that Yavez tapped into that really has helped scale his business, because you get bigger projects, less work.
Yeah.
Because they're interviews, they're branding.
Yeah, we'll have to connect We'll have to
Yeah,
connect
no,
when
I
the
have to
cameras
connect
off
you
more.
with him, man. He's gonna be on the pod on the 30th. We're doing a off the couch segment with him. But somebody that is just really dope, and I feel like that's the end goal for most creators, man. You want to be able to have a well-oiled machine that
Absolutely.
runs by itself, and because it still represents you, right? You know, like Obsidian Productions is still Aiden's baby, and so when people see it, I think you're doing a good job by taking self from the business.
Yeah.
So that people don't, because that's the hardest thing for an entrepreneur, right? It's to remove self.
Right.
And I think that's what you talk about, freelance versus business owner. Business owner thinks of, no, this business needs to be seen. And if I send you,
Yeah.
if
I can't be the
you,
face of the business. Yeah.
people will still accept it. They'll still see the same quality and everything, because one of the things, like with a lot of older videographers such as myself, and I don't consider myself old at all. You know, I'm 34.
Like, damn, why are you gonna do yourself like that?
34 ain't old, but older than, 12 years a difference is a big gap, right? And so, when I look at myself, I think of like, what's some of the differences, things that I wasn't able to have, and that was like one of them. You know what I mean? Like that's like one of the biggest differences between my generation of creators and your generation of creators. You know what I mean? And so I think, there's a lot that we can learn from guys like you. And although you haven't got there, you're not at where you want to be.
Not even close.
You're only 22 though.
Right.
You know what I mean? And much further than what most people
I'm
were
trying
at
to be more
22.
patient with myself. I'm my worst critic, and you are your worst critic, obviously. But I'm just really, man, my friends tell me all the time, they're like, Aiden, you are so hard on yourself, because they see me over here. I'm like, man, I only did this much this month. Like, I gotta get, like, Aiden, you're killing it. Like, you're cool. Slow down. I'm like, nah, like, I'm really not.
But
Like,
that's the
I'm losing
that's the
sleep.
mindset of a boss,
Bro, I got 2 hours of sleep last night. I fell asleep on my couch at 11. I woke up at 1 in the morning. I went to bed. I did not sleep, and I got up at 5:30 and started my day because I could not sleep because of how much stuff was just on my mind. Day-to-day stuff, other stress. Like, that's what people don't see when it comes to business owners. Everything else. Your level of dedication when you get to that point, or even freelancers, bro. I mean, like any kind of entrepreneurship. When you get to that point, that's what people don't understand. Your whole life is consumed. And you sure as hell better be obsessed with everything that you're doing, or you will hate your life. I have a friend right now does very similar to what I do. And he's in a very similar season of where I was, very complacent. Like, he's struggling, and we're all trying to help him out. And bro literally has told me recently, he's like, I don't really love doing it if it's not making me money. I'm like, okay, that's your first problem. Like, you got to find your love for it again, or there's way easier things to do in life that make way more money, bro. Like, you can go find it.
Or realize what season you're in.
Yeah.
Because I do think that I don't think focusing on money is not always good, but I do think there's seasons and pockets of every entrepreneur's life, especially young, just getting into it, or even you just need to get some money real fast because life happens.
You have
right?
to.
In those seasons, that's when you realize, hey, like, I ain't focused on like just getting money, but like I need money, right? Like, and those are the moments where you see people like, oh, I'm about to do music videos for $300, $400. You know what I mean? Like, some outrageous price. That's the person that's just trying to get as many jobs as he can, because he got to stack up some money for some reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not bad to have that hustler mentality. I feel like we all been there, but I do think that we have to get to a point to where, like you said, money is not the objective.
Yeah.
Having the full picture, being able to put people, I mean, bro, you're feeding families.
Right.
Giving people positions to be able to put plates on the table, clothes on backs, and have a roof over their head. That's more important. And I think all the successful filmmakers, Tyler Perry, every single one that's super famous or just very successful, paved the way for us, that's what they did.
Yeah.
That was the end goal.
Really quick side question, and then I'll touch up on this a little bit more. Who's your number one biggest like role model in the video space and ever?
I'm getting interviewed on my
I gotta ask, bro. I'm curious.
I think the person I relate to the most is Tyler Perry.
Okay.
I think from a director and just like life.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we have a very similar background.
Mhm.
Outside of that, I think I was a huge fan of Spike Lee.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just the weird. Like, a lot of people look at Spike Lee's films and say, "Oh, it's weird stuff, man." You know, just some of the dolly shots and shots that he'll have. I love that. Anything that makes you unique.
Yes.
And that was like one of the first people that when I first really seen their work, and mind you, I went to Muskingum University. I went for communications, but I also took film classes and stuff. So we learned about so many different people. But the style, technique that I've always said, like, if I could make a film like them, I would. It's Spike Lee. And then you start seeing people like, what's old boy's name? That basically really took after Spike Lee. Made Get Out. Made the movie Get Out. Peele. Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
And then he started having more of that style. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I feel like if I had to give it to two people, I would say Spike Lee and Tyler Perry. Just because, you know, I'm not a big Tyler Perry movie fan of all his movies and stuff. But it's just the hard work and dedication. I'm more big on the behind the scenes. Like, I don't really care about the work. These guys have this work, and they've been successful because of everything that goes on, the 99% that goes on behind the scenes, not the 1% that we see in theaters.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And so when you see these things and you see how they're moving, you see, like, just how they've just been persistent, consistent. Those are the life lessons that I look for that makes you a great leader. You know what I mean? Like, it's not so much the work.
Nope.
Like, I feel like there's so many great creatives in this world. I truly believe everybody can be a great creative. Yeah, that's really my belief. I don't feel like there's no separation between me, you, this person, other than the opportunities that we're afforded. But outside of that, I feel like all of us could have the same standard.
Absolutely.
But the difference
right
is
there with you.
Your role models and the traits that you pick up from them.
Yep.
Some people are great and they're arrogant.
Yep.
Some people are great and, you know, they just suck at editing. Some people aren't great and they're very arrogant. You know, some people got a lot of learning to do. I feel like we all do. There's so many different styles of film. There's so many different styles to shoot something. There's so much in this realm. You got real size videos. You got landscape videos. You got documentary. You got Super 35. You got crop sensor. You got full frame. You got so much you're dealing with. 8K, 4K, 6K, 1080. When do I use any of these?
Right.
Do they matter? You get what I'm saying? There's so much to juggle. I feel like all that stuff can be learned on YouTube University. You can go to YouTube right now and learn all of that stuff. So skill doesn't impress me anymore. The thing that impresses me is how you move.
The art. The
outside
actual vision,
of
the eye.
Exactly. What does your pre-production look like? What does your pre-planning look like?
Yeah.
You just booked that wedding. What are you doing to be ready for the day? What are you doing after the wedding to make sure that you have structure so that you're not doing X, Y, and Z, right? I feel like sometimes all of us have those moments where we're not that good at it. I was just telling you beforehand, I'm rushing over here trying to get SD cards clear and this and that. Obviously, maybe I had a little bit too much on my plate this week. You know what I mean? But it's taking those little moments and realizing, okay, that's an area I can improve on.
Yep.
My boy Dre, he runs a football program. I do some work with him. You know what I mean? He trains my boys. His biggest thing is 1%. You can't be 100% ever.
1%
but one
every
thing
day.
you can do is be 1% better a day.
You're 37x better at the end of the year. I love that.
You know, and I feel like that's something that you have to let sink in, man. And I feel like it's people like Grant Cardone, it's people like Miles Monroe that came before us, it's people like Les Miles that came before us, it's people like Eric Thomas, all these motivational speakers, all these people that pour into you. When you go into sales, if you sell cars, you sell luxury cars, you walk into Mercedes-Benz of Easton, you walk into Infiniti, any of these luxuries, at the beginning of the day, they probably watching a video on Grant Cardone, getting them pumped up for the day. So if that's what they're doing to be successful to sell that S-Class Benz on the showroom floor for over $300,000, why wouldn't you be doing that for yourself and using the same pattern to get success, to be able to land this $3,000 client or maybe a $3 million deal. You never know where it could land you. Right. But there's been principles and things put into place. It's just like I heard a guy say, man, you don't have to be a believer in God to understand that the Bible has principles in it. Life principles. If you give, you will receive. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that to promote, like, don't believe in God. Like, I tell people all the time, like, you know, I'm a firm believer. But what he was saying was there's life things that just happen. It's the circle. They just happen. If you sow, you reap what you sow. A farmer knows all about that. Mm-hmm. You ask any farmer out here, I ain't reaping nothing if I'm not sowing something.
Gotta be sowing them seeds.
It's a universal law. And so I think if we start to realize what are universal laws and practices that we could put in our pre-production, that we could put in our post-production, that we could put in the production, we could put in our pre-planning and our strategic planning and our marketing and our advertising. If we can take those laws and try to figure out how do they apply in our life, that's when we will be 1% better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like it's just taking one of those things each day, right? Like, to me, my 1% I'm carrying into tomorrow is I need to get my SD cards clean, bro. I need to go through all these cameras, and I need to sort footage out. You know what I mean? Because you haven't taken the time to do that, and it's making you delayed. You could have been started your podcast, but now you got to wait 15 minutes because you're over here doing this and this, right? Like, life happens, and if it was a client, right, just because this is you and it's at my house doesn't mean you still treat everything with the same urgency. Right? That's why I kept apologizing. Man, my bad. You know, and I know you ain't, and that's the average answer. You good, man. You good. But trust and believe, I've been in rooms with people that said, you good, man. They ain't bring you back.
Yeah.
They wasn't really good.
Yeah.
They just told you they was good because they still got to get today's job done.
I've been in rooms with people like that, too. I've been in rooms with people that are like, nah, you're not good. Like, why aren't you ready to go? I mean, it's there.
You know what I mean? And so, when you have those things, just focus on being 1% better, man. That's one thing I'm focusing on, every day. Just be 1% better, man. If I could do something today that I didn't do yesterday, great. And count and celebrate your small wins. That's another thing I had to really celebrate. And I feel like that's something I feel like you need.
Yeah.
Aiden, is to learn how to just celebrate your small wins, man. You are further than the average 22-year-old. And, it took for somebody that was way older than me, that served prison time and everything, to tell me, Eddie, I think at the time I was like 28. Say, Eddie, at 28, I was locked up in prison. It took for me to hear somebody else say, bro, I had nothing. Everything stripped away from me. You got to stop looking at other people's life and thinking that no, don't put yourself in nobody else's shoes but the shoes you're in and walk in them. You are doing way better than the average 22-year-old. So, yeah, of course your friends are there. That's good that they tell you, keep you level set it, bro. No, you're doing well. Now, it's just the beast in us that just says, y'all don't get it. I can get it. I know you don't get it. But it's still okay. You still got to take time to step back and say, look at what I do have.
Yeah.
Look at what I've created. Wins. Celebrate the small wins. And then it makes that big win even sweeter. And it makes it more predictable. It makes it more accountable. It makes it something that you really feel like, dang, I really can attain that. I'm conquering these small wins daily. And before you know it, it's a year gone by. And you think about where you started. Getting your small camera. If that camera was never handed to you 10 years, 8 years down the road, where would you be, right? And so I think a lot of people hate starting off with small beginnings, and they despise small beginnings. Celebrate small wins. Never despise small beginnings.
Yep.
Take what you got and make the most out of it.
Yep.
I'm in a
couldn't
basement
say it better
right
myself.
now. I'm in a basement right now.
And we live.
Every picture you see of Jeff Bezos, of all these big billionaires, when they started Amazon, it was in a garage.
They in their college dorm.
It was in their dorm room.
Literally.
I'm in a basement, a rented townhome. I don't own my home. I don't own a home. I'm in a townhome.
Safe for the people in the back.
I rigged the lights. I got tape on lights, right? But it's not so much, I don't care about none of that. I'm using what I have to the best of my ability. And when I'm done with this, I'll know. You'll know when it's time to move up. Why? Because your gift makes room for you, man.
Yep.
And that's all I got to say to the public, because I think a lot of people, they just don't really understand that, and we got a lot of young guys in the game that are doing very well. And I'm gonna tell you, like somebody told me, Adin, celebrate the small wins. You every day is a small win, and don't despise small beginnings, and realize sometimes we gotta step back and we gotta look in that mirror and be like, they right. And sometimes you just gotta tell yourself. Sometimes sometimes I don't give people the validation. I don't tell them to them. But when I get by myself, man, it was right.
Yeah.
Maybe
I feel that all, bro. I feel that.
Maybe I should take the night off
that.
editing.
I feel that.
Maybe I am putting a little bit more pressure on myself, but sometimes it's being able to hear those voices and having a community around you, right? You built up a community of people that you trust. And I think that's another thing that people don't do a lot. We don't have no accountability partners. We don't have nobody that's gonna call you. You want to work out, you want to get in shape, but you ain't got nobody calling you at 6 a.m. telling you, "Hey man, get up."
I swear, bro.
You know what I mean? So you can consistently fail. You don't got nobody to talk to about how to be a better husband, how to be a better father, how to be a better creative business owner. Look, I'm a firm believer in I do not know it all. Be a student of the game. Be a middle child. J. Cole said it best. Have somebody above you that can teach you and pour into you. Have somebody below you that you're pouring into. That's how the cycle goes.
That's so facts, bro.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so facts.
So,
that's
man,
so good.
I think, Adin, man, this is I think we gotta have you back, man. Definitely for a part 2, because
I'm down.
I think you will be perfect for an on the couch session, talking about this topic. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I'm down.
And I think, man, maybe we should bring a couple more videographers, man, just down here and just like everybody.
Let's
just
do
talk
it. Let's
about
hash it out.
Being
Let's
successful and being a successful business owner and what to expect, because I think there's a lot of viewers out there that have this look of what success looks like, but they don't understand the story that goes behind it. Everybody wants to be Jeff Bezos.
Everybody.
But are you willing to really risk what Jeff Bezos did? Are you are you ready for them nights? Are you ready?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of y'all don't have kids. Y'all ain't got you don't have to provide for nobody but yourself.
I swear.
Those things will come. So how do we figure it out now? So that way when those things come, you know how to move. You know how to handle those things, because life don't stop lifing.
Never. And never come. And you might feel it slowing down or nothing, but don't stop.
Nope, it don't stop. Time don't stop for nobody, man.
Success doesn't come from money. Success comes from whatever you make success.
Yes, sir.
If you're doing what you love to do, you're successful.
I believe it, man. I believe it. Adin, man, give them your information. Where can they find you, man? Where can they look up your work?
My Instagram is just shot by Adin. Adin is Adin, spelled a little differently. And then, if you guys want any value, any questions, any insight, shoot me a DM there. We'll connect. My purpose on this earth is bringing the right people together. If I can put somebody in a room with somebody else, even if it does not benefit me at all, and they can connect, or maybe they just become friends, that means the world to me. Like, I just love connecting people, bringing people together. So, yeah, if any of you guys out there want to connect or want me to plug you in with someone, chances are I probably know someone. But shout out Eddie and the Director's Den podcast down here. Like, bro, I had such a good time, such a good conversation. Man, and by the way, we've never met before this night. And we never met before this night. We barely knew anything about each other.
And I definitely think Adin's about to be one of my new friends.
Bro,
because the wealth of knowledge, man, like I'm just really big on just like the wealth of knowledge, man. I love people that are knowledgeable. You can tell when somebody really cares about what they're doing. And I'm just in a stage in my life. That's the only people I want around me.
Absolutely.
It's people that
Same here, bro.
are doing
Same
more,
here.
and people that have the gift of that gift and it. They know what it takes. Man, you already know what it is, man. Make sure you go like, subscribe, follow the channel, follow the IG page, man. Your support is greatly appreciated. And make sure you go follow Adin, man. Make sure you go follow his company, Obsidian Productions.
Obsidian Productions.
And look for Adin to be on a couple more podcasts, man. I gotta have him on here to have some more talks, man. Cause y'all know I got a circle and a community of creators, man. We just love this stuff. We love just bouncing
I can talk about
ideas
all day, bro.
and talk about this stuff, man. And then there's the reason why we make these episodes an hour, because we could literally go for days. But I think definitely this warrants Adin coming back to the den and making sure that he can spend some more time with us, man, and drop some more gems and just be able to share some more experiences that he's gone through. It's your boy at Iameddiejackson. Make sure you go follow me on IG. Make sure you follow at the Directors Den Podcast on IG. Make sure you follow the YouTube channel. Like I said, like, subscribe, and follow. I cannot say that enough, because the support, I mean, these podcasts are nothing without you guys watching them, without you guys soaking up the information, and without you guys becoming a part of the community. Remember, on here we always believe that real conversations plus real community equal longevity. Y'all make sure y'all have a good night. Let's go. Yeah.
That was so hard, bro. Good shit. Seriously. That was so fire. We were cooking it up, man.
Bro, that's...